Hello guys, I apologize for the bad audio quality. I do not have a good mic, but this is my first YouTube video with audio because it's a tutorial. I'm also very awkward. But I will be showing how to rip models from Project Sekai and import them into mmd. Just a note, this will be done with like an OC. So I will be switching around faces and hairs and bodies, but this tutorial can be done without that. You can do it to just rip one single character. I'll make sure to add a note whenever it's a part that can be skipped, which is only like 2 parts, so don't worry. Also, this part that I'm about to do can be done with an Android emulator on your PC, such as BlueStacks. But I'm unable to have that on my PC. But it's basically just the same thing, except you don't need to upload the file to Google Drive or anything else. You can just download it straight to your PC. So whatever you're using, you're going to open Project Sekai, obviously. Oh, and another note, I am using the same steps as 2 different tutorials. I will link those 2 in the description if you want to watch one of them, because I bet they did much better explaining. I just thought it would be easier to put it all in one video for people that don't know when to switch, and also because somebody asked me specifically for how to create OCs, not just rip models in general, on how to specifically create OCs, which is why I'm going to be mixing around the models. My tablet is really slow, so just excuse that, please. Okay, once you're in the app, you're going to go to the dress up. I assume you can also do this on sekai, but this is how you do it on sekai. I don't know what would be changed, probably just the file name, because it's not the JP version, so it would probably be called like Colorful Stage. But I'm not able to get sekai on my tablet, so if you're just doing this for one character, you'd only go to one character and you enter their dress up mode. And basically, you just dress them up however you want, just normally. You can try to use the color variants, but with my experience, it seems that they don't work a lot. So whenever I need another color variant, I personally edit the texture, but it's very time consuming. So you could either force them to work, or just deal with it. And since I'm mixing 2 models, I will also show how to fit the hair to the head if it doesn't, because I'm pretty sure the character I'm doing right now, the hair doesn't fit. And lastly, accessories don't always rip. Sometimes they won't, but I try anyways, because, you know, what's the worst that could happen? And I'm going specifically onto Shizuku for this because I want the one that goes with her hair. I'll also show you how to edit the exclusive accessories onto other heads. Okay, now that you've done that, you're going to exit Project Sekai, and I will put a list of things in the description of what you will need for this, but you will need Z-Archiver. You're going to scroll until you find Android and then Data. You might have to scroll to find Project Sekai, but you'll find com.sega.projectsekai. Then you're going to go Cache, Data. And I like to set it so that you can see the exact time, if I can remember how I did that. I sort files by date, and I also have show time right here, so that I can just choose the most recent ones, because, like, it's 9:50 p.m. right now, so obviously the ones that are in here from 12 p.m. won't be the ones I need. So you're just going to select all the ones that are the recent ones. And you can name it whatever, and you can enter password if you want. You can change any of this. And then, okay. It takes a little longer if you have more files, obviously, but, I mean, if you're doing this on an actual Android device and not an emulator, one of the videos in the description will have how to do it on BlueStacks. So if you have BlueStacks, you should go to that one. You're just going to hold down and share. And you can use anything, but I like to use Google Drive. And there. I'm done. You're done the Android section.
Okay, hello, this is the PC section. After, if you're using an actual device, you're gonna go to whatever you put it on, for me, Google Drive, and you're just gonna download that, obviously. Alright, now that you got that, you're gonna go into Files, and you are just going to extract that. I will link it in the description, but you're gonna need this script. You will also need Python, which I will link in the description, and you're just gonna put that in the file. You're gonna open command prompt as you're gonna run as administrator. I don't know if it works if you don't. This is just how I know how to do it. Now, this part may be different on Windows 11 or whatever you use. I use Windows 10, so this is how I do it. But you can probably find it online if you don't know how. So I will put this in the description, but you're going to put CD, and then you can either type it out manually or you can copy that, paste, and py decrypt.py. And then once it goes to the next line, you can close it. And then you're going to open Asset Studio, Asset Studio. Options, specify Unity version. 2022.3.31F1. If you don't do that, the files won't load. File, load folder, and then you're just gonna click select folder. You don't need to, but I like to sort it by type, or you can just filter type mesh to see if it has everything I need. So let's see if it has our hair that I chose. Oh, unfortunately, sometimes what you need won't extract. So I'll just replace that for something else for this tutorial. Unfortunately. The accessory. Let's see if our accessory... Oh, yes, it did. And then finally the body. Let's see if our body extracted. Yep. Okay, so we just don't have the hair, and the hair is what I was missing before this video anyway, so that kind of sucks. Okay, and go back to all. And to actually extract the files or export the files, for the hair or head or whatever, you're going to type in CHR for character. So if you're just looking for their default, you can just click that and then export animator plus selected animation clips. You can put in whatever folder. And then it's going to make a folder called animator once it finishes. And that's going to be there. And so that's the head we need. And then you can also go through the textures. It'll have text at the start to find if you need a different hairstyle. So, like, for example, this is Rekka, and if you couldn't tell. So I don't think I can actually find... Oh, maybe it's this for our accessory. Oh, I did not mean to. Oops. Oh, shoot, what? Oh, there we go. Whatever I did got fixed. I completely forgot what I was doing. Okay. Let's just... Since we don't have Minori's hair, I'm just going to use Hanami's. And then for the body, you're going to type in BDY. And again, you'll probably want to go through the textures to find what you need. It's a little easier for this because it's easy to tell which is what. So for this, we're going to need the 4691, which is this one. And then you're going to do the same thing. Boom. And that's done for that. Now, if you don't want to follow mine, this is where you would switch to the second video in the description, but I'll probably have timestamps anyways. So you're going to open Blender. And all the plugins you will need will be in the description, or you can find it from one of the other videos. So you're going to go to File, Import, and then you're going to look for FBX. And then you're just going to look for where your animator file is. And I like to start at the body, but really you can start with any part. Then you're going to select it, and make sure to go down to Armature and select Automatic Bone, whatever. I don't know what that says, but just select it. And then you're going to import it. It's going to be really tiny at first, but that's because you have to select these parts and delete them. And there you go. And you can keep it like this if you want, all shiny. I don't know why you want to. But if you want just basic lighting, you can go to flat and then texture. And then I like to select all R90 so that they're standing upright. Now, if I want accurate heights, I don't do this right away. I keep it under. And then I already have this file extracted, so I'll just show you how to do an A pose model. But some motions will make you do it another way. If you're having trouble with a motion, just ask in the comment section and I'll make like a separate video for this. You're gonna press tab to edit these bones, and you're gonna click on this little part right here. Shift S and then 2. And then you can delete these 2 bones because you won't need them. And you can keep it T-pose, but you're just gonna R negative. You can do whatever. I like to go 35 because that's what most of my models are like, but I've actually realized it's not what a lot of motions use. So just be wary of that. And then for the other one, you're just going to do 35. No negative, and that is 36, not 5. And to keep it like this, because if you just go into edit, for example, it's going to go back to T-pose. You're going to go to your cat's plugin if you downloaded that, and then apply as rest pose. So now if you go into edit, it's normal. Oh, also, you're going to want to parent this bone to this bone by pressing Control P, keep offset. And then go into pose mode and see, yep. Okay, now you can hide that if you want. You don't need to, but I like to do it just so I can see things better. And then you're gonna do that all over again for the hair. And I'll probably cut it out. Oh, I know I can't. I'll cut out any of the non-important things, but if you're making a custom Project Sekai model, there's some stuff you gotta do to mix up pieces. So I like to start with the face you're gonna use, in this case, Anne's. And you can ignore this part if you're not making a custom model, but if you're making a custom one and just want the face, you're gonna select anything that's not the face. So for Anne, it's her hair clips and her hair, and you're just gonna delete. And then R90 also. To do this, you go to here, Object Properties, Viewport Display in front, and then Display as Textured. You don't have to do that. No, Display as Wire. If you want the bones like this, you're going to go down to Object Properties, select in front and Viewport Display, and then as Wire. And then R-90. And then you're going to want to press right here to set it like this, and then R90. And then I press Control A, and then all transforms, and then Shift S, 8. And you're going to realize that's where we put the cursor. That's because that's where the neck connects to the body. And if you're doing a custom one, obviously you're going to delete the hair bones because those aren't needed. But make sure to keep the head bones, the head and neck bones right here. You're also You're also going to want to delete this tiny part. It might take a little bit of clicking to get to, but then you're just going to delete that. So I'll put a time that you can skip to if you're not making a custom one. If you are making a custom one, you can continue watching if you want. Okay. And let's do that again. I like to go hair next. And I forgot to hide that with the flip. Delete those buttons again. And if you're using the hair of a model, I would recommend keep the face until you put it up. So you're going to select the meshes and then R90. Basically just the same thing you did with the last one. So just rewatch that if you're stuck. And then once it's up here, you can then delete the extra. Wait, no, that's I mean, you can then delete the extra, which is the face, and then you can delete the head bones for this one. And then every time you move an object, remember to Control A all transforms. And then this is our last one, is the accessory. If it is not an exclusive accessory and you just put it on the hair, you might not need to do this. But here is our accessory. That is the body. I did not mean to get that one. As I said, we're gonna go to Shizuku's thing and select everything on 90. And since we're just going for the accessory, we can delete everything that's not the hat, including the bones. So delete these meshes, delete all the bones, and then boom. Here we have our model. Now, if you're putting a different character's hair on a different head, you're obviously, it wasn't made so for that head, so you're gonna see that there's a lot of things like that. I'll show you how to fix that in just a moment. Same with the accessory. Am I tweaking? Where did the... Oh, what? Wait, what? What? Wait, this has never happened to me before. Okay, I assume we can just ignore that. So, you're gonna press tab on the mesh to edit it, and then you're gonna... Or, actually, wait, no. You're gonna go into sculpt mode on the mesh, and then I like to use either grab or elastic deform, but you can use anything, I guess, if you figure out a way. And then you're just gonna grab it and drag it. Doesn't have to be perfect, especially in those parts that most likely nobody will see. Or really notice. So like right here, nobody's gonna notice that, are they? Like, I think if you're noticing something like this, you're just nitpicking. This can be a really annoying part of the process, but it's worth it. Trust. Because you'll get thousands of views. Trust. Okay, no more getting emo. I'm not being that accurate. Again, it doesn't have to be that accurate. I'm not trying that hard because this is just a tutorial. Okay. Yeah, that's good enough. And you're just gonna do that for any mesh you need to. Actually, for this hat right here, I am just going to resize it a bit. and then boom, it's not clipping anymore. You probably won't have to do much editing to the face or body, but I guess there might be a situation where you need to. Okay, and I've said this 3 times now because I keep having to redo the part. You're going to select every mesh with the body being last. I don't know if that matters, but that's how I like to do it. And then every armature with the body last. And then you're going to go into edit mode, and you're just going to connect all these places. So neck to the chest. Remember to always do keep offset. All of these little hair offsets. So the first parts, whenever it's like a gang of hair bones, you're just going to do the first little one, and it should be called like something something hair 01 offset. And then you're going to select the head and then keep offset, and then boom. And a lot of times you'll notice that the accessory doesn't follow the head. I know it's a weight problem and you can fix it in Blender, I'm pretty sure, but I like to do it in PMX editor because I don't know how to use Blender. Okay, now that you're done that, you'll have your beautiful model ready to be scaled, because if you just import it to PMX as it is, it will be tiny. One of the videos I linked has a better way to resize, but it doesn't work for me for some reason. So what I like to do is I like to go to mmdtools, import an operator, or it might also be in scene setup depending on your device. And then I have this Sekai model pack. I will credit and link the creator of this model pack in the description if you want to download it, and also just because I'm a good person. But you're going to select the character that you want it to be the same height as. So I use Shizuku's body, so we're going to use Shizuku. And also, if I want it to be accurate, not including shoes, I like to just like try and make it look like, so like right here, this is kind of where like if she wasn't wearing heels, the heel would connect and her height would come from. And then you're just going to go up to the head. And you're going to select the armature and then the mesh. S, and then just kind of move your mouse up until it reaches. And if it, okay, wait, she's wearing an accessory, this might be a little hard. Usually I line up the top of the head to the top of the other head, but it's not going to work here because I have an accessory, so I'll just make it look like Shizuku is wearing the accessory. Yeah, good enough. And then you can delete that. And then, again, you're going to Control A, all transforms. And then, since she's wearing shoes, you're just going to want to put this like a little bit above the line. And boom, you're done the Blender part. So if you hate using Blender, good job, you got through it. You're just going to select that, convert in mmdtools, export, and whatever. Just to be safe, I'm putting in a Feel the Flame, whatever. And you can save if you want to back up. I usually don't because I know how to do this. I have a document for this, but I'll just make a document for anything you need in this video and link it in the description. So you're going to open PMX editor. And file, open, and then you're going to find wherever you put it. So it's right here for me. And you can rename, this is the JP name, JP comment, and English comment and stuff. I'm not going to do that for this, but right here you can see I have a bunch of names and comments. Okay. Now, if everything is working correctly, oh, right. You don't need to, but you can select all of these, diffuse as white, specular as black, and then ambient as like a gray. I choose this one if you have this same layout. And boom. Now, one thing you'll notice is that the skin is white. And the pupils are also weird. the skin being white is something that can be fixed with shadekai, a, a thingy for MMD. I don't know how to use that, so I manually recolor the skin with a drawing app. So I have this plugin, UV editor. If we go in here and go into body, you're gonna see that any of the parts for like the body, like the hands right here, they're completely white. So if you don't want to use shadekai, you can just go into like Ibis Paint or something on your phone and color any of these parts white. Usually any of the skin parts, like right here, are the nails, or right here is probably the neck. Any of the pure white spots like that are most likely skin, but you can always double check if you aren't sure. Either by using that plugin, I'll link you in the description, or you can just trial and error by putting a bunch of different textures on. And that also helps. You can also edit the textures if you just want different colors. Like if I just wanted a completely different, like, I'll show an example really quick. I have custom OCs, and if we go into like this one, for example, you can see I have completely recolored. This is not any variant that's in the game. None of the Saki Terra fits look like this. That is completely custom coloring done by me. So you can also do that if you want, but not going to do that today, obviously. Oh, and if you did see, actually, I forgot that I was talking about this. Sorry. But I mentioned that the variants usually don't load or export or whatever. So if we go into this, I was right. It'll have like O2, I'm pretty sure, and there's nothing. Or if we just go into the 469 to get that, there is no other variant. Oh, we have the hat variant. We don't have the body variant though. So yeah, you can just try very hard to get it, or you just will have to recolor it yourself, which I do. Okay. One of the videos I link will have an easier way to do this next step, but for me personally, I am not able to do that because if you go into edit, batch name editor, there's supposed to be something that I forget what it is, but you're supposed to be able to wait, I'll show you the page. This is from the second video linked. It's steps from their video. Right here, there's, oh, what the hell? This video also shows you how to use shadekai, if I didn't mention that. Yeah, they're supposed to be find and replace with multiple lines. I do not have that, so I have to do this manually. But don't worry, I will also put this in the description if you also do not have that. Because then you won't have to remove the quotation marks yourself. Yay! Anyways, you can do more first because you don't have to do any separate things, and just select all of these and paste them. And then go update. And then you're going to go to bone. So these first two ones are position, offset, and hip. And then these four, you can also copy the space if left assist hip is there. Starts at left thigh, should end at left toe. Right here, starts at right thigh, should end at right toe. These three, waist, spine, and chest. And if you don't want to listen to me say this, you can just go to that page linked in the other person's description and, you know. Now, you can copy all of this if you have left arm roll, left elbow support, and left forearm roll, and left hand attach. If you have all of those, you can just select all of this together. Sometimes some models won't have left hand attach or won't have some of these. In that case, you won't be able to because then it won't be accurate. If you do, good for you. Same with down here, just with right. And then this is neck and head. And then boom, you're done with that. And more plugins that you will need are going to be used. So edit plugin user. And then first you're going to go to semi-standard bone plugin. Here are my, okay, you're going to disable second upper body bone, and here are what I use. I don't know if this is right, but this has been working for me, so whatever. And then okay, and I'm just going to do that if everything is right. Oh, 1 second. Okay, sorry, I had to do something. Anyways, you're going to find this one. So if you look for something that has no number and then 2 and 3, you're going to go to the first one, and then you're just going to switch the P-bone to 4, which should look like this. And then you're going to go to edit plugin again, and then you're going to do your legtoe IK generator. And that is fine. If you go into transform, you will see. Oh shoot, the accessory! I almost forgot that. So, for head accessories, which it most likely is, you'll only have to do this if the accessories don't have a bone attached to them, I'm pretty sure, because, for example, the hat does not have any bones, so, you know. So, you are going to select the head, which is probably near the bottom. Looks like this. And then you're going to press M and hide everything except one of the accessories. Or, well, you can do both if you want at the same time. And then you're going to press W, and you're going to see this weight/UV drawing. Make sure it's selected as this, and then you're going to start. And then I like to zoom out so you just get it all in one thing. And then you're just going to paint it all red. And if you did that right, you should be able to have it move with the body. Oh, wait, okay. Mine has an issue. For some reason, none of the bones are visible when they should be. So for ease, not everything needs to be visible. There will be some bones that aren't visible. But I'm just going to do that for this video to be easy. Usually you shouldn't do that. I don't know why I did that. But now the bones are visible. Here. You can see everything moves as intended. Hopefully. If you need help editing textures, just put in a comment and I'll help. Anyways, I think that is it. If you want non-black background highlights, you're just going to put that into a background remover and then replace that file, and it should be normal. So that is it. Goodbye. Stare at my beautiful wallpaper while I awkwardly say goodbye because I do not know how to end a video. Bye!